Oh, fuck. Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Dork and Bolts. In this quick episode, I'm gonna do a simple mod to your car when you have a 2014 F32 or 435i like I do. You might have noticed that the side or the interior lights under the doors are quite dim, and you might have noticed that the LCI cars have the lights brighter, and well, it's kind of like a nice touch. And this is it's a fairly easy mod that you just need this part from the new LCI. So let's get to it. First things first, we're gonna remove the battery, and by how we do it is by removing the negative terminal directly on the battery right here. And just to make sure that it doesn't go back in by mistake or anything, I'm going to put this plug on top of it. So as usual, we're going to find our trusty number 10. I wonder if everybody has like several sets of number 10s. If you do have a lot of number 10s, just put a comment below. So we're going to just remove this thing, and obviously it's pretty hard to do with one hand, but we'll get there. And on that note, note to self, before you remove the battery, turn off the alarm. Once all your neighbors have dispersed and checked that nothing is going on with their cars, you can go back to work. With the battery out, we are ready to go back in the car and start removing panels, seats, and everything that is in our way. We are going to start with the back seat door, the back seat panel, where the door would be. To do that, first we are going to move around the trim, and we have to remove a little bit of this gasket, door gasket. But first, pull up the seat. It's pretty simple. Just have to pull real hard up and it will unclip. Have to do that on both sides. So go and yank it up and remove it. There we go. So there are a couple of ways of doing it. The one that I found easier to do is just pull the seat to the front and then grab it from the side to lift it up. Then just slide it out the door. Very simple. Just make sure you don't scratch the trim or the doors, paint, etc. Or it gets snagged in various places that it can. And as everybody knows, we're going to put it in the safest place of the cart, which is the trunk. And as you can see, I have a few pieces here for a project that I have for the future. So stay tuned to figure out exactly what that is. Back on track, we are going to start to remove the panels. But first, we're going to check what we have under the seat. Oh, squidgy. Cool. That was probably left by the guys that did the tinting of the windows. I don't know. But, free squidgy is always a good squidgy. So the first clip is right under the middle of the door. So you just pull it out, and then you can continue pulling all on the side of the door, and it will just come out easy as that. I will try now to show you kind of like a POV to see where the light is and where the plug and everything is. So you can see down here, that's our plug, and that's the light that we are going to replace. To replace this light is simple. Just pull the plug. Under the light, there's kind of like a slide position, something weird happening. But to take it out, you just jiggle it out side to side, and eventually the light will come out. Just be very careful of not pulling it too hard, because the element that conducts the light, it's very brittle and it will break. It's very easy to break. So as you see, I'm sliding it out, and once it's all by itself, I can separate those two elements. They're just held in by a little tiny kind of like teeth that you just pull it up without bending it, and the light will just separate from the plastic thingy. To compare what the old unit looks like against the new one, this is the new unit and this is the old one, and you can see that the old one kind of, you can barely read what the numbers are on top, and the new ones are right there. The part number is 63319353133, and you can see inside the LEDs there are two lights, two diodes. One is for the orange and one is for the cool white. Let's compare what the old one looks against the new one. We're just gonna plug the old unit back in and see what kind of lights does it give up. I'm gonna plug the battery real quick, and now I'm gonna check what does it look like with the lights on. And this is the result. As you can see, it's very, very, very dim. There's not much light coming out of it. It's just pointing to the dark area there, and I couldn't say it could be better. If I plug it back into the illuminating element, it's just dark. You cannot see anything at all. Old light out, new light in. Check out the difference. So much brighter. I will plug it back into the lighting element and see what is the difference. Of course, if I can get it in, I'm pretty sure I'll get it in this week sometime. It is pretty hard to get it, but finally. All right. So you can see now there's actually some light coming out. I mean, it's not gonna be like a football stadium or anything, but you can see how illuminating it is now. If I change to orange, the light is way, way brighter, and looks pretty cool. If we compare this side to the other side, we don't see anything at all. In fact, it's like there are no lights in there. Can barely see anything. It's just a reflection from the lights in my garage that shows some sort of light, and you can see it's very, very dim. Right now, all the lights are going to match the LCI trim for the AC unit that I installed a few weeks ago. It's all going to match, and it's going to look very, very nice. Looks pretty cool. Now let's make sure that it's all crimped in, so we're ready to put the trim back in and go to the other doors. To put the trim back in, it's fairly simple. You just need to make sure that the tabs that are hanging from the sides of the window are in the trim, and then just slowly push them back in, and they will just clip back. Now that we have done both sides on the back seat, one side is similar to the other, let's go to do the front door. So same principle, we'll remove the door and the light, same thing that we did on the back, but now the light is positioned towards the latch, the door latch, and we just put in the new one. If you guys want to see a video about how to remove the front door trim, let me know, put a comment, and I'll create a new video for you guys. So we'll just plug that in, same principle, we slide it in, plug it back. Any day now. Any day now. And there we go. Plug the light back in, and we're ready to put the door trim back in. We slide the lock into hole there, and then we can just start clipping the trim back in. To put back the door handle trim is kind of like a little bit different. There's this tab that has to go inside a little hole in the top part, and on the bottom you have this metal thing with another tab has to kind of fit in. So the right way that I found and the easier way to do it is first put the top back in, and on the bottom slide it up behind, do not press it in, but slide it up behind the tab and then just slowly press your trim back in. And as simple as that, it's done. Now for the final result, let's check what we've done. Well, it looks a little bit brighter in the back, even though the garage is very well lit. You can see that it's very orange right now, and the lights, the orange color of the leather is popping out even though the lights are on white. Now let's try to see what it looks like if I switch the colors to orange or amber. What a difference. Look at that. Way much better. And like I said, with these lights that are brighter, now my center console AC trim doesn't look so lonely because everything was so dim. Now it kind of makes sense. So there you have it. It's a DC DIY. It took me more or less an hour and a half, and it was just for the filming because I'm doing this by myself and it's way harder to do all these things with one camera, or I should say iPhone, because we don't have cameras. But the hardest part actually was putting back the back seat and passing through the belt seat, the seat belts buckle through this tiny little hole that it was just painful. It was kind of like watching Ace Ventura 2, the rhino scene. It was something like that. So if you enjoy this quick how-to DIY improvement, I don't know what you want to call it, subscribe, like, and share with your friends. And for more things to come, because there are, we'll stay tuned. Thank you. Bye.